Jim, I know you could say it in the most literal sense in terms of Quinn being a difference maker tonight, but how much is he entering difference maker stage as a player in the more general sense?
Yeah. It's hard. I don't know exactly what that means, but I will tell you this. He's a good player who's getting better, so I don't know. Somebody can decide when he hits the threshold, but I think he's been a difference maker for us for some time.
So is it the point where you just kind of put a 1 next to his name right now, just assume one's going in for him?
Sorry? I mean, he's on a roll. We're talking about Fight Club. I got to have that conversation with you now. I've had it with Dennis. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is he your number one center right now?
No, I don't know. If you look at the minutes and how those guys all play on the power play and the penalty kill, I don't know that there's one guy that you would say that's the number one center. I think we got 3 guys. Sammy's, young and getting going, but I think 3 guys. There's 3 guys there, to me, that on any given night is the guy that leads us. And Q's going pretty good right now, though.
For years here, it was kind of automatic to see 9, 11, and 8 over the boards in OT. When did you start looking at maybe reconfiguring that? And who do you think your best trio is right now in overtime?
Well, I mean,
Third winner.
yeah. Q's got 3 winners, right? So, and him and Juice have started now, a little bit. So, Cope got out there with, I think he was Laugh. I don't remember exactly. Had a chance on the net as well. But yeah, I mean, speed is important in overtime with all that ice, and no matter how many minutes Q's gets, he just doesn't slow down. So he's got an engine.
On the flip side of space and speed, the first 40 minutes, 6 shots on net.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff wide, a lot of stuff high.
Right.
How do you look at that as a coach? Because you don't want to put it in the middle of the net every time.
Right.
Everything seemed to be missing.
Yeah. Well, we had to make sure we didn't get frustrated because if you looked at the attempts were there. They blocked a lot. We missed a lot. And, if you just start staring at that board and you look at 5 and 6, that doesn't look or feel very good. So, and that can make it worse. So we tried to, not focus on that, more on the attempts we were getting. And we had a lot of looks from up at the top. They were really tight. And so they gave us top. They didn't give us anything in the bottom, and we banged away at it. Usually something hits something and ends up in the back of the net, or there's a rebound or nothing. Tonight, not much at all.
Darcy certainly had a commendable career, obviously. Did you foresee him being this good?
No, I'll be honest with you. You know what I mean? I thought he would give us solid goaltending, but he's had an exceptional season so far. Yeah, I don't know if anybody could have saw this coming, but he's been great.
Do you think he deserves a little bit more recognition? Because you look at your guys' stats, and obviously you're one of the best defensive teams in the league, so expected goals and all that, it's going to be lower. So he's not, when he's called upon, he's still making those big saves. So does he deserve a little bit more recognition as far as maybe Vezina talk, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at the goaltending stats throughout the league, but you make a really good point. You have to you don't go through the game, even if you're a good defensive team, not giving up chances. We give up chances every night, plenty of them. You have to be able to make that save. The save he makes on Stamkos with 10 seconds left in the game, you can say, well, they didn't have that many. That's a massive save. That's a game-changing. That's 0 for us, and we get the point, the ability to get 2, we get 2. So, yeah, I agree with your take on that. There's a way to look at that and say, no, that's a season he's put together here. I don't know where the other guys stand as far as comparable statistics, but he's had a whale of a season so far.
We talked to Mikey about the 6 shots through 2 periods that Andrew mentioned, and what felt like a really disconnected game from the team. He said in between the second and third period, there was kind of a conversation of bear down low, get pucks to the net, kind of started just getting ugly with it. Was that a conversation between the players? Was that a message from you as a coaching staff, or had that secondary
Yeah.
feel for you?
Yeah, no, but that was probably from the players, which was, made a lot of sense. I think probably everybody tried to just remain calm. Again, not pour gas on the fire in that instance. And I think the players, we weren't sharp. Let's be honest. How many times did we ice the puck? And it's seemingly right on our tape, and we missed it. So we were not sharp. That's very clear. But I think everybody was still pretty calm, understanding that that if you get too angry and frustrated, then things just doesn't usually turn out for you. So maintain your focus. Kopi does such a great job of that. Just stick with it, and you hope something good's going to happen. And that was one of those games where you could have lost it pretty easily, but I think the maturity of the team shone through.
But if you look at Thursday, you clearly didn't play with the same emotion tonight as you did on Thursday. Is that just a natural thing coming off that time?
It's really hard. It's really hard to play that level of emotion night after night. Again, I've said it we expect perfection, we demand it, we want it, but you just understand that sometimes it's just not there. And beyond the emotion, I thought we just weren't sharp. You know what I mean? So sometimes if you're sharp and you get it in and you can get into the game, we just didn't. I mean, at one point late in the first, I sat Hellenius' line and went to 3 lines, not because Hellenius' line wasn't doing a good job, but just there was all those icings. It just felt like everybody was just sitting there quietly. And so I wanted to try to get those guys into the game somehow, because it just didn't have a lot of flow to it.
The same kind of flow kind of carry over to your power play tonight? Seemed like you were disconnected there.
Just not sharp, yeah. It usually, they go hand in hand. We talked about the other night how good we were, and the power play was sharp. Yeah, we just weren't connected.
It seems like every time you guys really gained steam, picked up momentum this year, there's been a road trip that sapped a little. So how big are this a short trip with these next 2 games to kind of keep that rolling forward, I guess?
Yeah. I think this is going to be a good test for us in Minnesota. They play a certain style of game. They're strong. It's going to have to take a deep breath, and we're going to have to come with some more energy for that one for sure. I think it's going to be a really good test for our team. I think this Minnesota game, we'll start with that one, but I think it's going to be a test for us.
You mentioned the Hellenius line. It feels like this is the best version of the fourth line we've seen this season. There's folks on Alex Turpin in particular. A lot of players would take that demotion, especially a young player, maybe shut down, not really handle it as well. It seems like he's really thrived and almost elevated his game. Just how impressive have you been on that part of his game recently?
Yeah, Turk's a worker. That's the one thing about him. He's got skill for sure, but he's a worker. He gives you what he's got. He's like a water bug. So I think sometimes there's pressure to play on the top line. And again, I've mentioned it. You play typically against the other team's top D. They're big and strong. It's a grind. And so I think maybe it's just a little bit of a thing where he feels less pressure. Just go out and play, do your thing, and I think he's thriving in it. I agree. I really like the way he's playing. He's got banged around, but he's been in there and he never shies away.
How do you evaluate Kuzmenko's first week with the team? I mean, visually looks like he's he's playing well, but doesn't have the points. So what's maybe the communication with him on that?
Yeah, I mean, we've said to him, I think the obvious is to look to shoot a little bit more. I think we all see that. So that's really the only message. And we've liked how he's played. He could have 4 or 5 points, and we could be saying, wow, look at Kuzmenko. And I don't know. I don't know that we would be saying, yeah, he's incredible. We would be saying, yeah, he's playing solid. And I think he's a good compliment. I think he's a fit, and we want him to get points, but he'll be fine. We're giving him a good run.
On field, in the post-game interview, you mentioned having fun multiple times in his answers. How much does that factor in, and how important is that for a team to have fun together?
I think it's really important. You have to enjoy the challenge, the work, the fighting for every inch. Sometimes that's not fun. Not when you've played the game out of creativity and enjoyment and got to touch the puck, and then you go out there in the NHL and it's bang it out, bang it in, and you don't get the joy in the game that you got when you were a younger player, when you had the puck all the time. So I think that's the hardest transition, is to find joy and fun in the competitive battle and the willingness to make small plays and still feel good about it, and patient enough when the good play does come, that if you score, that you just embrace that moment and enjoy it. So it's a different style of game than anybody's ever played. When you get in here, man, it's really, really hard on your mind. So you got to find ways to have fun through the battle.